Hey everyone. As you can imagine, it's been a wild few weeks for me. Up until a week ago, I had always wanted to start a YouTube channel, as I've always liked analysing TV and films with my wife and friends. It wasn't until I searched for Dark on YouTube a few weeks ago that I realised that the content provided on it, in my opinion, didn't scratch the itch. So I decided to make it myself. I never expected to get any views, let alone close to 60,000 views in my first month. Now, I ain't stupid, and I realise that this will not sustain after the Dark buzz goes away, but I've been inspired to continue. I have lots of ideas, and it would be great if you would stick around to hear them. However, if you're only here for the Dark content, it will pop up every now and then, but I would have no hard feelings if you want to ride into the sunset at this point. Moving forward, I'm going to be releasing a video every Thursday, no matter what. Some weeks I may post more than one, depending on what I'm covering at the time, but those will be bonus ones. There's going to be at least one a week, and that's going to be on a Thursday. Also, follow me on Instagram to make sure to stay up to date with what I've got planned. I'm really excited about some of the ideas for video essays that I've got coming up, and if you stick around to the end of this video, I'll give you a sneak peek of what next Thursdays is going to be. Righto, let's get into the review. After a mind-bendingly brilliant second season, it was no wonder that the bar for Netflix's German mystery science fiction show Dark was sky high heading into the third and final offering. In the past, fans having overly high expectations, especially going into a final season, has proven to be a contributing factor to a show getting a poor reception as the bar was just too high to clear. It's astonishing then what Dark has managed to do with Season 3. It's managed to introduce new characters, a whole new world, new aspects to its already complex use of time travel, whilst at the same time allowing space for existing characters to flourish and storylines to come to an end. What is even more mind-boggling is that even though Baran bo Odar and Jantje Friese delivered their most thought-provoking and challenging season yet, they were able to deliver an ending which both feels satisfying and complete, but also invokes discussion and demands analysis. In the first few episodes of the season, we're thrown into an alternate world to the one we've seen in Season 1 and 2. A world in which, as the advertising states, everything is the same, but different. Ulrich and Katharina are divorced, and Ulrich has remarried Hannah, who is pregnant. Magnus is a goth now. Charlotte is the one cheating, not Peter, with Ulrich of all people. Franziska is deaf and mute. Elizabeth can talk. Volla has 2 eyes, only 1 arm though. Mikkel's hit puberty. I'm going to stop here. There's so many details to notice that you could make a whole video on just the similarities and differences between these worlds. I absolutely loved it, and I was drawn in from the word go. The amount of effort that went into creating this second world was clear to see, from the subtle changes in costume to the decision to mirror all of the sets, giving a real sense that not only was the world thematically mirrored, but it also was a physical mirror of the Prime world that we'd seen in Season 1 and 2. The series benefits from strong lead performances from Lewis Hoffman as Jonas and Lisa Vicari as Marta, or Alt Marta as the fans have deemed her, whose chemistry manages to make you forget that their characters are technically aunt and nephew, and by the end of the season, you just want them to live happily ever after together. After all, they're a perfect match. As with the previous 2 seasons, the rest of the ensemble cast does not put a foot wrong, each hitting their mark and adding fantastic depth to the town of Winden. I could honestly go through each actor and talk about how much I enjoyed their performance, but I don't want to make an hour-long video. I will pick out one example though. I have been thoroughly impressed by the performances of Carlotta van Valkenhayn as young Elizabeth throughout the entire series. So much so that when her alternate version turns out not to be deaf and mute, I was gobsmacked. I, hand on heart, hadn't even entertained the notion that the actress herself was not deaf and mute. Moving on from the momentum created in the first few episodes, the pace of the final season doesn't let up. It blisters through the story at breakneck speed, while at the same time still having room for the beautifully written scenes of dialogue that we've come to love and expect from the show. No scene feels dull or forced, and you need to listen carefully to each line of dialogue, as there are numerous examples of subliminal foreshadowing of what's to come, as well as callbacks to dialogue from previous seasons. Again, putting across the idea of symmetry, cycles repeating, and the worlds mirroring. As Season 1 did with the reveal that Michael Kahnwald was actually Mikkel Nielsen, and Season 2 did with Adam's Ich bin du moment, Season 3 delivered a huge moment midway through, with the reveal that the origin of the cycle was the child of Jonas and Alt Marta. This reveal was a double whammy, with us also finding out that the child in question was the unnamed trio of new characters, putting the pieces in place for their mother Eva. Like the Adam identity reveal in Season 2, this new information only added to the intrigue of how it would all go down in the end. We also learnt midway through the season of the possibility of timeline splits, which led to us viewing certain characters in a whole new light. The Jonas we had followed from the alternate world in the first few episodes turned out not to be the same Jonas who would grow up to be Adam. A fact that was pounded into us, with a moment where the Jonas we were following was shot and killed. This is a twist that completely turned the fans' understanding on its head. We'd been told up to this point that a character can't die if their future self exists. This addition of timeline splits added a much needed shot of unpredictability into the show. Even the most hardcore fans had no idea where the show was going to go now. The biblical themes of Adam and Eve that have been alluded to in previous seasons ooze out of the seams of Season 3. Ironically, the characters of Adam and Eva, who have named themselves such, grow to be the antithesis of one another, with Adam wanting to end the worlds and Eva wanting to create the cycle as it always has been. This direction that the Eva character wants to go is in stark contrast to the biblical figure she has styled herself after. In the Bible, Eve is the first human to achieve free will by eating the apple from the tree of knowledge, whereas Dark's Eva fights against free will and believes in maintaining the predetermined path for all who live in the cycle. Eva, then, can be seen as analogous to the Eve from the Bible before she takes the bite of the forbidden fruit. And while the symbolism of Adam and Eve takes center stage, the serpent that is Claudia Tiedemann is working away diligently in the background. The so-called White Devil lives up to her name, as she embodies the role of the snake from the biblical tale. Whilst Adam and Eva deploy their soldiers between the two worlds to try and achieve their goals, Claudia has literally been playing three-dimensional chess, as she's discovered a third world, the Origin World. It's the world from which Adam and Eva's worlds were born. She then sends, or tempts, to use the biblical verbiage, Jonas and Altmarta to travel to the Eden-like Origin World, which is portrayed as the opposite of Eden in the Bible. To get into this Eden, you need to display free will. Claudia found out that the two worlds we have known were created when Origin HG Townhouse turned on a time machine to try and save his family who died in a car crash. Jonas and Altmarta were sent to save Origin HG Townhouse's family, which results in the two worlds we have come to know being destroyed in a beautifully haunting and reflective final montage set to Wonderful World, performed by Soap and Skin, in which the characters we've come to love and loathe fade away into non-existence. This, for me, surpassed all expectations I had for the finale. Going in, I was convinced that the continuing of the cycle was the only way the series could rightfully be drawn to a close. Oh, how wrong I was. The creators managed to tell a story that not only shows the cycle completing, but also allows the characters to have the most important part of storytelling, an end. Having seen the finale, I can't imagine the series ending any other way. If I had got my wish and the cycle just continued, I know now that I would have been unsatisfied. There needed to be a feeling that it wasn't all for nothing. We got the opposite of that. It all mattered. Everything had to happen in the way it did, in order for the cycle to be broken and for Origin HG's family to be saved. The fact that Claudia broke the cycle, even though everything was shown as being predetermined, ensures that there will forever be debate and analysis around this show, which is no bad thing. I mean, we're still analysing books like 1984, The Great Gatsby, To Kill a Mockingbird, years after they've been written. I think Dark will be similar. The analysis will go on for years. It leaves us with questions like, did the characters ever exist? What was the point of their life? It causes us as an audience to reflect on our own lives and the importances that they hold. It would have been very easy for the creators to leave us with the message that our lives don't matter, and that all we are when we die is forgotten. But Dark doesn't say that. It stands boldly and says that it all is for something. It's all for the love of a father and a son. Our existences are not in vain because we bring love and joy to others. There's so much I could say about this show, and I would never have said enough. I could mention the beautiful cinematography, the controlled and nuanced direction, the spellbinding score, the carefully considered art direction, the list goes on. In my opinion, Dark is the closest thing we're going to get to a perfect TV show. Streaming services, TV channels, production companies. Take note. Thanks everyone for watching. As I said at the start of the video, I'm going to be releasing a video every Thursday from now on. I plan to take a small break in discussing Dark, or at least for my next video. I think we all need a breather from the detail-ridden thinking that we've been doing since Dark was released. So for my next video, I'm going to be taking a light-hearted look at the 90s science fiction comedy starring everyone's favourite space toy, Galaxy Quest. There'll be a slight twist in the video, which I don't want to spoil, so subscribe to my channel so you don't miss it next Thursday. Until then though, see you in the next cycle.